Hello everyone, this is Little Wolf Guy, or you can call me Wolf, whatever you prefer. I wanted to talk about the game Level 0 Extraction today, or more specifically about the alien. Now the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I enjoy lore, I enjoy stories, I enjoy going in depth into stories of not just this game but all of the other games. So here I am. Now if you're somebody who is unfamiliar with this game, it doesn't matter. I'm going to explain the basics and then just move on from there, basically. But so here it goes, right? Essentially what happened is there was this New Horizon corporation that went into this alien world called Turion. What they found was, well, new life in forms of strange plants and just in forms of a big scary alien, which you can see on your screen right now. Now, what exactly happened on this world, we don't know. All we know is that the scientists went to the world and they took hostage one of the aliens, or multiple aliens, right? And decided to take them back to Earth. Now, what they didn't know is that a bunch of these aliens snuck on board their ship and essentially hitched a ride back to Earth, which didn't really go very well. So back on Earth, when the scientists came back, what happened is they experimented on the alien. They experimented on the alien in a way to figure out, what they are, what they can do, and stuff like that. But what they also did was they crossbred the human genome with the alien genome in order to try and create a super soldier, like somebody who can essentially be unstoppable. Now, as they were doing this, there was this accident, random accident. We don't know who caused it, we don't know what the origin was. All we know is that the accident happened, the power went out at this research facility, and everyone died, essentially. And after that, a bunch of megacorporations from all over the globe sent mercenaries in, which are the players, Players play as the mercenary, and they try to loot and extract. They loot all sorts of stuff, weapons, research, photos, whatever they can find, bolts, wrenches, anything they can find that is lootable, they loot, and they extract. They get out as quickly as possible before the alien can kill them, or before the other players can kill them. So that's the gist of the story. That's basics of the basics, all that you need to know in order to understand the game as is. The next I wanted to talk about the alien. Now, the alien is the most mysterious part of the lore, part of the story, as in we have no idea what they are, what they can do, their biology, we don't know anything about them. As I've said previously, they come from the world of Turion. Now, what does this mean exactly? We don't know. All we know is that they came from the cave systems of Turion, which we don't know really much about. All we see in the game is a small, tiny part of a large cave system that the aliens have built. We see their nests, we see a bunch of their sort of eggs and a bunch of their creations around the caves, but we don't really know in depth how alien society operates, how it works. Do they even have a society? Are they really just mindless predators, mindless animals? Maybe they're not, maybe they are, we don't know. Do they have a queen? Do they not have a queen? Do they just operate based on some sort of telepathic communication? We don't know. But there are some pointers in the game that do tell us a little bit about the alien. So, number one, their electromagnetic pulse, for instance. They have the ability to shut down any and all electric devices within a certain range. This is their own ability, this is just something they can do. However, there's more depth to this from my perspective, and I'm going to explain to you why. So in the game, there are these turrets that can shoot the mercenaries. However, these turrets do not shoot the alien for some reason. Now, what could this reason be? Why don't the turrets shoot the alien? And my one reason is that the aliens can not only shut down the electronic devices within range, but they can also manipulate electricity on such a precise level that they can enter the microchip, for instance, of a turret, of an electronic device, and sort of reprogram it in order for this is why I believe this sort of reprogramming ability that they have is the reason why I believe that the aliens actually reprogrammed the turrets in a way so that they would only shoot humans and they would not shoot anything that has the alien genome in it, including the mutated humans that were a part of the aforementioned experiments. So this is just my theory, this hasn't been proven, but this is something that I would really enjoy if they went more in depth on, about the whole interaction between turrets and the aliens. Next is, for instance, as I mentioned right now, there are these mutants, human mutants that were the experiments that wander around. Now these mutants don't actually attack the aliens, which is strange because the mutants are insane, right? The mutants are portrayed as this sort of insane, shambling monsters that just attacks anything on sight. But they don't attack the aliens, you know? And of course the reason for this, why I believe this is the reason why they don't attack aliens, is because the aliens have some sort of connection to these mutants. They have some sort of connection, psionic connection, that allows them to sort of not control the mutants, but to just make it so that the mutants don't attack them. Now you might be wondering, well, why can't the aliens just control the mutants? You know, why can't they do that? And the reason why, I believe, is because the mutants are still half human. And this half humanity in them is sort of making it very difficult for the alien to actually control them. That's sort of my theory, my idea on how the alien psionic link works. The way their psionic link also works is they can sort of sense each other from across the map, and they can talk to each other from across the map. We can see this because the alien, when you play as the alien and when you have a partner who is also an alien, you can talk to each other all across the map. Like, from across the map you can hear each other. However, there is one other thing that is incredibly interesting. And that thing is you can understand the human language as the alien. Now, why is this? How can the aliens even understand human language? And my theory that I came up with is they can't understand our language, but they can understand our thoughts. So I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to start from how my theory evolved. So here it goes. In the beginning, I thought that the reason why the aliens can understand human language is because of walkie-talkies. So humans communicate through just walkie-talkies, right? Through just some sort of electronic device. And because the aliens can sort of manipulate electronic devices on a very precise level, somehow they can hear this electromagnetic wave that your communication device, that the mercenary's communication device produces, and they can sort of understand us, right? However, this doesn't make sense, because while the aliens could hear our words through electricity, they cannot understand, like, how would they even understand what we are saying? They would only hear gibberish because they don't understand our language. So that theory fell flat on its face, at least to me. However, I have another theory, which is their telepathic connection. The aliens, I believe, have a very deep psionic connection with each other. And not only that, but they have psionic capabilities, some psionic capabilities, in terms of understanding the thoughts of other beings, such as humans. Now, before you talk as a person, first you think about what you want to say, right? And it is those thoughts that come before you speak that the aliens can hear, can intercept, and understand. Because think about it, your thoughts don't have a language. In your head, you think about what you want to say, but your thoughts don't have a language. Your thoughts are just this sort of ethereal thing. And the aliens can pick up this sort of psionic wave that this sort of they can pick up your own thoughts coming from your head because they have this deep connection because they have this deep psionic ability, right? And they pick up your own thoughts and they understand what you wanted to say and they understand what you were thinking. That is what I think is happening. Now this is just headcanon, I don't actually know, but it sounds pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. It does sound pretty cool to me that the aliens can understand human thoughts, not human language. And there are a bunch of other abilities about the alien, such as the acid cloud, such as the scream wave, such as the spit. They can spit on people, but I'm not gonna go into these abilities because I think they don't add that much to the lore and to the story. Like for instance, the alien can throw out a gas bomb that explodes. Okay, that's kind of just there. That doesn't add anything to the story. Also, it can spit on people. Sure, but that doesn't add anything to the story. It can place traps. That also doesn't add anything to the story. These are combat abilities. However, one other ability that I wanted to talk about is their scan. The alien has an ability to sort of scan the environment, right? Now, how their scan works and what is the biological or psionic reason for their scan, I'm not sure. Because, so here's what I think. Here are my thoughts, my headcanon on this, right? The alien sets out a very electronic pulse around it in a large area. And human beings, do have electricity happening in their body. They do. They have tiny electrical impulses in their nerves happening in their head and all over their bodies. And the alien can detect that, in a way. However, I also then wonder, why can't the alien detect the mutants? Why can't the alien detect the turrets? I don't understand why the alien can only detect humans with this ability. And so I came to a second headcanon, which is again their psionic abilities. They can emit a psionic wave throughout the entire map, and human beings are the only things they can detect. Why? Because, for instance, the turrets do not think anything. The mutants also, they don't really think about anything. Well, they don't really have any deep thoughts, the mutants, They just wander around like shambling horrors and not really understanding anything. So that's my headcanon for their scan ability, how the aliens are able to scan their environment. It has something to do with their psionic abilities, not with their electronic abilities, their power over electricity, essentially. I also wanted to talk about their food. So when you play the game as the alien, you see these sort of yellow eggs around that you eat. Now, one of my theories was that these were their children, right? These were the aliens' children, and they were eating them. But that doesn't really make sense to me, because why would they do that? And also, the reason why they are called eggs is because of their shape, not because they actually contain a living organism within them. The humans call them eggs. The aliens just call this something else. This is just a language barrier. But these eggs, I think, are sort of plant-like organisms that the aliens grow themselves from this sort of black goo that they emit from their nests, from maybe their bodies, from maybe somewhere else, right? Essentially, these are just plants, in my opinion, which might give off the idea that the aliens are herbivores, not carnivores, of course, which, once again, this is just headcanon. They might be omnivores, actually. We do not know. We simply... I don't have enough information for this. But yeah, I think that the aliens are more herbivores because they just kill humans. They don't eat them. Throughout the game, even in the trailers that exist for the game, the aliens just kill humans. They don't actually eat them. Which leads me to believe that the aliens are mostly herbivorous. Because, like, what would they even eat? Like, think about it. They live in a cave. What would they eat other than maybe rocks or some form of plant life that has managed to eke out a living from the rocks, right? Like, what could they possibly eat? Like, it's not like there's a bunch of wildlife going around in the caves, you know? There could also be cannibalism, which I'm not gonna really go into much, it's self-explanatory, but I don't really buy this much, because there's really nothing I've seen in the Caves of Turion about cannibalism. But on to the point. Anyway, my headcanon is that the aliens are actually herbivorous, not carnivorous, maybe omnivorous. Maybe. Just potentially, right? And so that was the egg. And I think that's all that I really wanted to talk about. Well, not really. There is one other thing. Their society. So, I talked about the Caves of Turion and how we don't really understand what the aliens are. Now, based on what I've said about their psionic ability, about their psionic connection, is the aliens have this sort of very deep, very interconnected psionic connection between themselves. They can see each other, they can detect each other and sense each other over incredibly long distances. They can talk to each other from incredibly long distances, which leads me to believe that the aliens do have a society, you know, because they can talk to each other. Like, in game, I know we are players, we are like human beings, you know, who play as the alien, and we talk to each other. But I do think there is an argument to be made about aliens being able to have long and deep conversations with each other. Because from the gameplay, the aliens are very good at hunting. They're very good at sort of setting up a game plan, if you will, sort of looking at the mercenaries and setting up a plan, setting up a trap, and ambushing them, which is a big sign of intelligence, you know? A pretty big sign of intelligence, if you ask me. Now, one thing that sort of disproves this sort of high intelligence theory is their nests. In the Caves of Turion, we see these nests, right, that are just sort of this black goo that we don't really understand anything about, and it's spewed all over the place, which leads us to believe that the aliens don't really know how to construct anything. They don't really know how to make any sort of buildings or stuff like that. But then again, making buildings isn't really a sign of intelligence, you know? That's not really a being can be intelligent, like a species can be intelligent without having to construct any deep and complex buildings, right? So, on my opinion about the alien society, I think they are incredibly intelligent. My proof of this is their ability to comprehend sort of the telepathic communication. This is sort of just my proof of this. Like, I do think that a species needs to be incredibly intelligent in order to have this sort of deep psionic connection between themselves, right? This is something that I believe, which is this time for real where I wanted to end. That is what I wanted to talk about. That is the story and the headcanons that I have come up with. And I hope you enjoyed the alien section. As for the mercenaries, which I'm gonna go over right now, there isn't much to say. You are a human. A boring, bland human. You are a mercenary who just gets paid by a corporation to go into another fallen corporation to extract things. That is what you do. There is nothing really in depth here to go into. We know what human societies are like. We know what humans are like. We know our own biology, you know. We kind of just know everything about the mercenary. We know where they come from. We don't know any mercenary organizations, which I think is fine. There is no reason for us to know. All we need to know is that we are paid for by the corporations to go in, and that's it. We have some traders that we can trade with. We can trade the items that we have gathered with, and that's kind of it. There's really nothing more to go into about the mercenary. There are some characters that you can choose from who have their own sort of tiny little quips about them, but that's about it. There's really nothing in depth going on here. And that's why I'm not going to really talk about the mercenary much, because I quite frankly am not that interested in them, you know. They're just humans, as I said. So that's gonna be it for today, for my headcanons, for my thoughts about the game, and I really hope you enjoyed. Once again, my name is Wolf. I stream. If you wanna like, you can like. If not, don't. Wanna sub, you can sub. If not, then don't. It's fine with me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see you next time.